if like you're just having day-to-day fights and you want to vent, like get a journal. You don't talk to your partner. You don't need to tell your friends. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and today I thought we would talk about things you should stop sharing so you stop becoming a target. And what do I mean by a target? Meaning a target of mistreatment, a target of a narcissist, a target of a manipulator, just a target of anyone that wants to take advantage of you. So here's the thing. If you grew up in an environment where you weren't taught how to protect yourself, or you were taught that you have to overly share, or you grew up constantly feeling guilty, or you grew up being silenced and then you became an adult and you started sharing so much because you were silenced for so long. If you had any type of wound, you may be an oversharer, and you may share with the wrong people, because when you grow up in unhealthy dynamics and in narcissistic homes or just traumatic environments, you learn to trust what is familiar, which is chaos, which is manipulation, which is the abuse. And so you may find someone, so you may talk to someone and they remind you of home, and then you're like, oh, I can trust this because it reminds me of home. And then you end up sharing with the wrong people. Or like I had mentioned, when you are silenced your whole life, you then wind up just sharing to anyone that will listen. And a manipulator or an abuser will be a listening ear in the very beginning, and they'll show like, oh, like just tell me more about you, like I want to be there for you. And so then you wind up overspilling. So that's why it's important to be aware and know, okay, when you're first getting to know someone, if the foundation of trust hasn't been built and they're not like a best friend, someone that you've been through things with, maybe don't share these things. Now, the first one is personal financial details. So you may be wondering, okay, like I can't talk about my salary, I can't talk about like money problems. You can, just not to everybody and their mother. Be careful who you share these things with. Why? Because if you're someone that makes a good salary, it can lead to people taking advantage of you. Or they can manipulate you in certain ways of like making it seem like they have it worse off than you. Or maybe they do have worse off than you, but they play on that, and then they make it seem like you have to help them in some sort of way, or you're a bad person, or they guilt you for not helping them. Or on the opposite end, if you're someone that doesn't make a lot of money, it can hurt the dynamic if they make a little bit more money than you, or more money than you. It can hurt the dynamic where they then will maybe tiptoe around you, or they'll feel bad for you, and it becomes a pity relationship. So again, like I said, you share those things with people that maybe understand the struggle, or they understand what it's like to make that type of money, and the people that you trust, that foundation of trust that is built. But people like that are in passing, or co-workers or employee, whatever it is, like shh, on the low, you know, they don't need to know. It's none of their business. It's not in the handbook of how to have relationships with people that you have to share what you're making. You can keep that to yourself. Even if people get weird about it, it's okay. You're trying to keep the peace. The next, which is something I tell my clients, I will sing it from the rooftops: stop sharing your intimate relationship issues with other people. Your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or whatever they are to you, your love, the one you're intimate with, keep that on the low. That's between you and the other person. Even, I would say, even with your close friends, don't share that. You know why? Because if you get in a fight with this person, right, and you tell your best friend, you will forgive your partner, but your best friend won't. And so they'll know these things about your partner, and they'll like start to not like them, and then it creates these issues between your partner and your best friend. So that's another reason. And also, like, when you're emotional and heated in the moment, naturally we say things in a more emotional way than maybe what's actually happening, or like we see it differently when we're very hyped up and emotional, rather than when we're on the other side and we've calmed down. We're like, okay, like now I see this person's perspective, and like, or I see my partner's perspective, and I was seeing things not clearly. I was seeing through an emotional like story, you know. So your friend is not gonna forgive the same way. So there's that. There's other things where it's like that hurts the trust and the foundation between you and your partner. Like, you guys need to have things that are just for you two. You're not supposed to tell everyone what's going on between you two. Then everyone gets involved. And the other thing is, when people get involved, they think they have permission now to be a part of your relationship. They will ask questions about your relationship. They'll ask intimate details. They'll think that they can tell you what to do. It's just like, there's got to be a boundary of like, this is between me and my partner. You're not invited. I didn't know that when me and my partner decided to be together that this was going to be a three-way. Now, when it comes to like intimate relationship issues, you may be wondering, well, how do I know, like, what if I'm in a situation where I'm being gaslit or abused? How do I know unless I share to other people? Well, that's the thing, is if you're ever questioning your relationship like that and you're wondering if it is abusive, then of course, like, reach out to a friend, talk to someone. Like, you're not dumb. You know the difference between like you're having a fight versus like something doesn't feel right. Trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right, something feels off, and you keep questioning it, if what's going on is normal, 100% tell a trusted person. Even reach out to a counselor and ask if that's normal. But if like you're just having day-to-day fights and you want to vent, like, get a journal. You don't, and talk to your partner. You don't need to tell your friends, or you don't need to tell random people that will listen. The third thing is your sex life. I know that guys, they do share with their other guys like what's going on in the bedroom. I hear it a lot. No, that is so intimate and personal. Keep that to yourself. Why do you have to tell anyone? Unless you want to get some sort of advice, you don't need to be sharing like what's going on. And when I say getting advice, I mean, again, someone that you really trust, like, hey, we're struggling in the bedroom. Can you relate to this? You don't need to be bragging about what you're doing. Like, why? Unless you're seeking some sort of validation. Keep that off the internet. Stop telling people. That's for you and your partner. That's a very special, vulnerable thing that's between two people. And like, who doesn't like secrets? I'm someone that I like secrets. Like, I think that's so sexy. Like, what are you doing? Spice up the bedroom, have secrets. Stop telling everybody. The next one is people you dislike. From day one, I told my little sister, keep gossiping to yourself. Keep who you don't like to yourself. Don't tell anyone, because when you get involved in that, then other people will tell other people and the vibe will be off, and like it will just start issues, and just, it doesn't do well. Especially like, I would say from like high school on, keep who you don't like to yourself so you stay out of the drama. There's gonna be people you come across that you don't like, that you just have to deal with, and you don't have to like be fake and be best friends with them. You be cordial. You don't vibe with them, that's cool, but you don't have to tell other people that you don't like them, because how does that benefit you? What do you get out of that? It's more so the reason why you want to share that you don't like someone is probably to maybe gossip or get validation or just vent your frustrations. But you can tell your best friends, again, like the people you trust, but you don't have to tell like people that you aren't that close with. That is just it's going to get back to the other person, and then what? Things are awkward and it's uncomfortable. Part of growing up is learning how to function with other people and not pretending that you like them. You just are like, okay, I'm going to be cordial with this person and be friendly, but I'm not going to get to know them on a personal level or try to be their best friend. And everyone else that's not like your good best friend, which you should only have less than a handful of like best friends. I would say you probably have like 1 or 2 best friends. If you have more than that, I don't know. I feel like it's not that deep of a relationship. Like, you have like a couple best friends. Those are the people that you can tell. But people that are just like friends you're friendly with, the trust probably isn't there, and you don't need to tell them. When you have an urge to tell people things, you have to think like, why am I telling them this? Like, what am I trying to get out of it? Because I think a lot of people, they'll talk just to talk, because again, maybe someone's listening, or like they just want to get it out, but not everyone is deserving of hearing these things about you and what you feel about these things. The next is trauma dumping. Not everyone needs to know your business about what has happened to you. A lot of us will explain our traumas because we want to be understood and heard, and that's completely valid. You want to be understood, you want to be heard, but the girl on Instagram doesn't need to know your trauma, what has happened to you, because you were misunderstood on a comment. You don't have to explain yourself. Like, you're going to be misunderstood in different areas of your life, and that's okay. Not everyone has to like you or understand you. When you share your traumas, It leaves open room for people to take advantage of you. So like, oh, this person has been through this, like I can make my way in this situation and like use it against them, or I can tease them about it, or I can use it to my advantage in some way. I can manipulate them through it. I can guilt them through it, like with it. You want to be so careful with who you share your trauma with, because not everyone is deserving, again, of hearing what you've been through. Even if you maybe feel more understood, you don't always need to obsess about being understood. It's better to protect yourself than having people understand you. The people you share your trauma with are, again, people in your trust foundation, therapists, counselors, coaches, you know, whoever, that doctors, you can share with those people, your journal especially. But like everyone else, they're not gonna validate you. You don't really get something out of it when you share with people that are not in your circle. You get more potential to be hurt rather than to be understood. You share those things with when like the foundation's growing, not when like you're trying to set a foundation. The next is vulnerability. So these are things like your insecurities, your failures, your worries, your fears, even your dreams, your hopes. These are all things that leave you open for vulnerability. And what happens is again, that leaves the doorway open for people to be like, oh, this is something they're insecure about. I'm gonna use it to my advantage. I'm gonna use it against them. Oh, they're a loser for feeling that way. Like they may talk shit about you when you reveal some of your vulnerabilities. They may make a mockery out of you. They can hurt you with those things. So you don't need to tell everyone your vulnerabilities, or you don't need to tell people, again, that are not in your inner circle and people that you haven't built a foundation of trust with, these vulnerabilities, because they did not earn that ability to hear these things about you. People have to earn vulnerability. There's different levels of vulnerability, and when you're getting to know someone, you start slowly revealing things and see how they take it, to see if they're a safe space where you can share these things. See if they're gonna try to like use it against you, try to guilt you with it, try to manipulate. Like you always want to pay attention to see how people are taking the things that you're saying, but you don't want to tell people vulnerabilities very quickly until they've proven themselves that they're worthy to hear these things about you, that they've been open, that they've been empathetic, that they've been compassionate. The next is political and religious views. The reason why is because people can use, if you are the one who shares political and religious views first, they can use that as a way to mirror you and to get you on their side to better manipulate you, or they can use it as a way to tear you down and tear you apart, or they can use it as a way to constantly argue with you or make you feel stupid or dumb. Like again, not everybody needs to know your business. There are people, like a lot of religions, they can be very passionate about their religion, and you can say like you are a certain religion, but you don't have to go in depth about your views and what you feel about things, because that leaves you as a vulnerability, that leaves it as a doorway for people to potentially hurt you and cause harm to you. And so you need to protect those things. Those are really, our political views and our religious views are things that are very dear to us. They're things that are important to us, and they're things that can leave you very vulnerable. So there's certain things like it's a little bit different, where it's like you don't have to like not share at all, but you share like the surface level things and not crazy in-depth information, because again, it leaves you as a target and it leaves you very vulnerable and a way for people to again make fun of you, to use it against you, to harm you, to mock you, all these things, to manipulate you with them, to act like they're into those things, and then later on they just use it as a way to get in, so that way they could make you one of their victims. The next is trips. Now this makes you vulnerable in the aspect of people who are gonna go and rob your shit. Please, everyone, stop. Not everyone, sorry. People who are very social media focused, stop posting your trips until after you come back. Kim Kardashian got robbed that way, like scary robbed. When you go on a trip, it shows, and you may not even have money, but it shows that you have extra money where you can go on trips. And that, to other people, that's like, oh, they have money, I'm gonna go rob them, I'm gonna go take their shit. especially jealous people or people that don't feel like they have a lot of things. They're gonna go and do those things to you. So don't post your trips until after you come back. Don't post you're gone, don't post where you're going. Keep all of that information to yourself. So yes, keep your trips to yourself. When you're going on trips, how long you're going for trips, when you're on the trip, keep all of that to yourself. Don't put it out there, and only tell the people that are gonna like house sit or your job, you know, things like that. And the last thing is if you struggle with lack of confidence. That's why they have the term fake it till you make it. People who like taking advantage of others seek people that don't have confidence in themselves or who they are or what they're about. They genuinely look for those people. They'll ask questions, or they'll test people to see. They test the boundaries. They test to see who's confident in themselves and won't let this person abuse them. You never want to share your confidence struggles with anyone except, again, the people that are closest to you, or just your therapist or whatever, or just to yourself. And the reason why is because people that take advantage, they smell that lack of confidence and they immediately go after it, like a shark smelling blood in the water. They can sense it, and they then are like, okay, that's my target. They don't say this out loud, they say it like subconsciously, like, okay, that's my target. I'm gonna target this person because they're not confident, and I can push them, and I can get away with things, and I can take advantage, and I can manipulate and control them. So when it comes to, you can struggle with lack of confidence. There's nothing wrong with that. No shame. Everyone struggles with confidence issues. But it's the way that you carry yourself that's really important. So even if you're not confident, act like you are confident. And especially in settings that are scary, or in work settings especially, or settings where you're vulnerable and you can get taken advantage of, you're confident. You know what you're talking about. You feel good in what you're saying. I'm gonna tell you something. There's been times in my life where I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, but I was so confident in what I was saying that people ate it up. They're like, no, that's so good, that's so good. That's why people can get away with on the internet saying a lot of nothing, and people be like, yes, go off, like, because they're so confident in what they're saying. It tricks people to think, okay, I must be dumb if this person's so confident in what this person's saying. If they're so confident in what they're saying, like, it creates a cognitive dissonance in them, and then they start to believe it. Like certain supporters of certain presidents, that's what happens. Regardless, it's like I mentioned, it's okay to be unconfident. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't act like you're unconfident, and don't tell people that you're unconfident unless it's someone that you fully like feel like they're someone that you can trust, and maybe they struggle with the same thing and they were vulnerable with you as well. So bottom line, the point of the video is keep most things to yourself and stop sharing so much, especially on the internet, with random people, with people that there haven't been a foundation that's been built, because that is what makes you a target. And even if they open the floor for you to talk, don't take it. Just because someone gives you the floor doesn't mean that you have to take it. Doesn't mean that that's an opportunity for you to speak, unless they have proven that they're worthy of being spoken to in a vulnerable aspect, or to hear some of these things. People have to prove themselves. People don't have to prove themselves to be nice or kind or anything like that. More so, they have to prove themselves that they are worthy of hearing things about you and worthy of trusting on a vulnerable level. Because all of these things are things that people can use to manipulate and control you and to take advantage of you. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys. I'm blurry. Oh, okay, I think we're okay. Okay, what am I saying?